Had you seen anybody stand up successfully to your father?
No.
Had you seen anybody ever try?
Yes.
Who was that?
A car salesman at a BMW dealership.
What was the outcome of that attempt?
The car salesman started to cry.
Grown man?
Yeah.
Did you ever see your father afraid of anybody?
No.
Did your father talk about being afraid of anybody?
No. He did the opposite. He used to come home and tell stories about how he wasn't afraid or was fearless in this or did this when most people would be afraid.
Did he ever tell you stories about how people were afraid of him?
Yes.
When you were young, between the ages, say, of 11 and 15, did you think about what your father was doing to you on a regular basis, even when it wasn't happening?
Yes.
Did you think about it when you were around your relatives?
Yes.
Did you ever think that they knew?
Yes.
Do you now think that they knew?
No, they didn't know, but I was paranoid about it at the time.
What do you mean you're paranoid about it at the time?
They would give me a look, or they would smile at me in a certain way, or say something, and I would just look at them and say, God, they know. They know.
So did you think when you were little that they were anybody that you could have turned to?
No, not just because of that, though.
Let's fast forward now back to Thursday night. At that time, did you think that you could go to your relatives and tell them that your father was a child molester and have them protect you?
Definitely not.
Why?
Because you just didn't stand up to my dad. My relatives certainly weren't going to stand up to my dad like that and hide us out or keep us. They admired my dad. My dad was the big figure in the family. He was the successful, admired one. And he was also the feared one. And you didn't disobey him, really.
So you didn't think any of them would stand up to him?
No, they wouldn't have.
You didn't think any of them would oppose him?
No.
Did you ever hear your other relatives actually bragging about your father? Were they proud of his accomplishments?
Everyone was proud of his accomplishments.
You thought your grandmother loved you, didn't you?
Yes.
And how did you feel about her?
I loved her.
And how did she feel about your father?
She loved my dad.
More than anybody else?
More than anyone in the world.
And did you have any particular desire to tell your grandmother what had been going on?
No.